What's up guys, the Snowman here. I've got a fun tennis instructional video planned for today. It's my top tennis tips to improve your game specifically while playing singles. There's a lot of strategy and tactics that go into playing tennis, not just physical but mental as well. So today I want to go over the simplest and the easiest ways to improve the way that you play tennis. Now, I've got 8 main tips that I want to get to. Number 1 is out-rallying your opponent. Also, please don't judge the tennis on display by me and my brother Mike too hard. We're certainly not professionals, but out-rallying or outlasting your opponent is so key. Some days you might be outmatched, you might not have your A game with you, but it's always important to hang in there and not give away points for free. There's 3 main ways that you can win a point in tennis: either hitting a winner, drawing a forced error, or drawing an unforced error from your opponent. And sometimes that third option is the easiest of the 3, as long as you play solid, as long as you continue to move your feet and just focus on getting balls back in play on the other side of the court. You have a great chance of winning points, especially in recreational play. Even if you don't have a great serve or explosive offensive weapons, you can always play sound, counter-punching tennis and grind your opponent into frustration. Out-rallying, outlasting, and playing mistake-free tennis is a great way to have success against a foe who may have more requisite talent. Now, the flip side to that is to be aggressive. My number 2 tip is to take your chances, play bold, play fearlessly, and pick and choose your spots to be aggressive, whether that's within the course of a rally, off of a service return, or anywhere in between. You don't want to play the same way all match long. If you can mix in moments of aggression along with sound counterpunching play, then you're playing multi-dimensional tennis. So find your opening, size up the ball, and then grip it and rip it down the line or cross court. It doesn't matter. Controlled aggression is a great way to enhance your game. Number 3 is pretty simple. Play to your strengths. If you're someone with a great forehand, then position yourself on the court to play more forehands. And most tennis players do have a stronger forehand side than backhand, so always look to take advantage of that. But just in general, playing to your strengths means taking advantage of what you do best. There's so many different kinds of shots in tennis: the serve, forehand, backhand, slice, drop, volley, smash, lob. If you're consistently playing to your strengths, then you'll be in great shape. And going off of that, the inverse is to play to your opponent's weaknesses. It's always important to scout your opponent and know how they play. The more information you have about your opponent, the more you can tailor your game to attack and exploit their weaknesses. Both myself and Mike have decidedly weaker backhands than your average player, so it's vital for both of us to make that a point of emphasis. Oftentimes, it's the player who can find their opponent's weaker ground stroke. That's the player who wins the rally. My 5th tip to improve the way you play tennis is to attack the net and finish points at the net whenever the situation presents itself. Playing up at the net allows you to produce angles and finish off points in a way that isn't possible from the back of the court. Any kind of short ball from your opponent, or anytime you're able to hit an approach shot deep into the corner and have your opponent on the run, it's important to close off angles by playing up at the net. Even though volleying isn't the easiest skill to master, you should always push yourself to go to the net when the chance is there. Keep the pressure on the other player as much as you can. Number 6 is to bring your opponent to the net. I know this is counterintuitive to what I just said, but by using short slices and leering your opponent to the net when they don't want to or aren't in a good position, it should open them up to be passed quite easily. By bringing an opponent in against their own plans, they can become quite vulnerable, and you can strike a winner on either side of them, either cross court or down the line. A couple more tips now. Here we have using variety to create mistakes from your opponent. You can't win every point from out rallying, and you can't win every point from brute strength and power either. Variety is an extremely critical component to tennis, whether that's employing drop shots, slices, off-speed shots, moon balls, anything to throw off your opponent's timing and rhythm. You can use topspin, side spin, backspin, etc. The goal is to never let your opponent get comfortable, so variety in your game imperative in keeping it unpredictable and multifaceted. Finally, we get to number 8. This tip: constantly move your opponent from side to side. Tennis is a sport that requires a tremendous amount of fitness and stamina. You have to remain focused for sometimes 2, 3, 4+ hours at a time. That's why it's always key to test your opponent's legs early and often, get them moving from side to side. That'll not only sap their physical strength, but their mental energy as well. And just like the last tip with using variety, moving your opponent from side to side is all about keeping them in a sporadic state. You never want them to get settled in one spot, especially if they're a bludgeoning baseliner. Keeping them on the run is critical to extracting errors both in the short and the long term. One more bonus tip before we sign off: being lucky is a huge advantage to have on the tennis court. If you can hit as many lucky net chords as my brother does, that's a huge asset to have. It's not really something you can teach, but it's better to be lucky than good in most situations. I highly recommend being lucky. It's a surefire way to ruffle your opponent's feathers and get them off their game. Thanks for watching my tennis tips video. I hope you enjoyed it or found it informational. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment or a question if you have anything to add on. But thanks again. If you want more tennis content, please subscribe to the Snowman Sports Media for more. Cheers.